She rejected the arrogant CEO's proposal in front of everyone. He said, "I deserved that." Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now, let's get into today's story. She rejected the arrogant CEO's proposal in front of everyone. He said, "I deserve that." The ballroom glittered with 1,000 lights reflecting off crystal chandeliers and champagne glasses. Manhattan's elite had gathered for the annual Sterling Industries Charity Gala. An event where business deals were made between courses and marriages were arranged over dessert. Saskia Brennan stood near the bar, nursing a glass of sparkling water and counting down the minutes until she could leave. At 32, Saskia had been the executive assistant to Kingston Sterling for 5 years. 5 years of arriving before dawn and leaving after dark. 5 years of managing his impossible schedule, fixing his mistakes, and making him look good to the board. 5 years of being invisible while he took credit for her ideas. Kingston Sterling was everything Saskia despised in a man. At 37, he'd inherited his father's billion-dollar tech empire and promptly turned it into something even larger through sheer ruthlessness. He was brilliant, yes. Handsome, undeniably, with sharp features, steel-grey eyes, and the kind of presence that commanded attention the moment he entered a room. But he was also arrogant, dismissive, and treated people like chess pieces to be moved around for his benefit. Especially her. "Miss Brennan." His voice cut through the ambient noise like a knife. "I need you." Saskia turned to find Kingston approaching, his tuxedo fitting him like it had been painted on. Probably had been custom-made, knowing him. Several people turned to watch. They always did when Kingston Sterling moved through a room. "I'm off the clock, Mr. Sterling," Saskia said coolly. "It's Saturday night. Even executive assistants get time off." "I pay you enough that you're never off the clock," Kingston replied, not even bothering to lower his voice. "I need you to handle something with the Yamamoto representatives. They're interested in the merger, but they want assurances that—" "No," Saskia interrupted. Kingston blinked. In 5 years, she'd never outright refused him. Pushed back, yes, argued occasionally, but never a flat refusal. "Excuse me?" "I said no," Saskia repeated, setting down her glass with more force than necessary. "I've been working 14-hour days for the past 3 weeks preparing for this event. I organized this entire gala, coordinated with 6 different vendors, managed RSVPs for 400 guests, and spent yesterday afternoon fixing the seating chart because you decided at the last minute to invite the Rothstein family even though they're feuding with the Chens." She took a breath, aware that people were starting to stare. "So no, Mr. Sterling, I'm not handling the Yamamoto representatives tonight. I'm not handling anything tonight. I'm going to finish this overpriced water, eat one of those tiny appetizers that cost more than my weekly grocery budget, and then I'm going home to take a bath and pretend I don't work for you for exactly 12 hours. The silence around them was deafening. Kingston's jaw tightened, but before he could respond, Saskia walked away, heading for the exit. She'd probably just ended her career, but God, it felt good. She made it to the coat check before Kingston caught up with her. "That was quite a performance," he said, his voice tight with barely controlled anger. "In front of half the tech industry. Do you have any idea how that made me look? Like someone whose assistant is tired of being treated like a servant instead of a professional?" Saskia suggested, accepting her coat from the attendant. "I can imagine." "We need to talk about this," Kingston said. "Monday, my office. First thing." "Sure," Saskia said, buttoning her coat. "Right after I drop off my resignation letter." She walked out into the cold February night before he could respond, and she didn't look back. Monday morning, Saskia arrived at Sterling Industries headquarters with a box of her personal items and a resignation letter in a sealed envelope. She'd spent all Sunday updating her resume and reaching out to contacts. Working for Kingston Sterling might have been hell, but it looked impressive on paper. She'd have a new job within a month. But when she reached her desk outside Kingston's corner office, she found him already there, standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring out at the Manhattan skyline. He turned when he heard her approach. "You're early," he said. "I'm always early," Saskia replied. "It's how I managed to keep your life running smoothly for 5 years." She set the box on her desk and pulled out the envelope. "My resignation. Effective immediately. I'll forfeit the 2 weeks' notice pay." Kingston took the envelope, but didn't open it. "I owe you an apology." Saskia actually laughed. "I'm sorry, what? Did Kingston Sterling just say he owes someone an apology? Should I check for flying pigs outside?" "I'm serious," Kingston said, and something in his tone made her pause. "Saturday night, you were right. I've been treating you like a servant instead of the invaluable professional you are, and you called me out on it in front of 400 people, which I absolutely deserved." "Oh," Saskia said, genuinely shocked. "I didn't expect that." "I spent all weekend thinking about what you said," Kingston continued, "and about the past 5 years. Do you know how many executive assistants I went through in the 3 years before you started?" "No." 17, Kingston said. 17 people quit, most of them within the first 2 months. And then you came along and suddenly everything just worked. My schedule made sense, meetings ran smoothly, problems got solved before I even knew they existed. I started taking credit for ideas that were actually yours because they were presented so seamlessly, I forgot they didn't originate with me. He set the unopened envelope on her desk. "You've been running this company alongside me, Saskia, and I've been too arrogant to acknowledge it, let alone thank you for it. So I'm acknowledging it now, and I'm asking, begging if necessary. Please don't quit." Saskia studied him carefully. In 5 years, she'd never seen Kingston look uncertain, vulnerable. It was unsettling. "Why should I stay?" she asked. "Give me one good reason why I should keep working for someone who treats me like I'm replaceable." "Because I'll make you a partner," Kingston said. "What?" "Not executive assistant. Partner. Equal stake in the company, equal say in decisions. Your name on the door. Sterling and Brennan Industries." He took a step closer. "I've built an empire, Saskia, but I built it on your backbone, and it's time I acknowledged that officially." Saskia felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. "You can't just... That's insane. The board would never approve." "I control 60% of the shares," Kingston interrupted. "The board works for me, not the other way around. And if they have a problem with it, they can take it up with the woman who's been actually running this company while I took all the credit." "This is crazy," Saskia said, but her mind was racing. Partnership, equity, her name on the door, everything she'd ever wanted, but never thought possible. "Is that a yes?" Kingston asked. "I need to think about it," Saskia replied. "This is a huge decision, and I'm not making it based on one apology, no matter how unexpected." "Fair enough," Kingston said. "Take the week. Think about it. In the meantime, I'd like to take you to dinner. Tonight. Not as boss and assistant, but as potential partners. Let me show you what this could look like." Saskia wanted to say no, wanted to maintain her anger, her righteous indignation, but curiosity won out. "Fine," she said. "Dinner, but I'm ordering the most expensive thing on the menu." "I'd expect nothing less," Kingston said, and he almost smiled. Dinner was at an exclusive restaurant Saskia had made reservations at dozens of times for Kingston's business meetings, but had never actually entered herself. The maitre d' greeted Kingston by name and led them to a private corner table. "So," Kingston said once they'd ordered, "tell me about yourself. And I don't mean your work history or your professional qualifications. I mean you, Saskia Brennan. Who are you when you're not managing my chaos?" It was such an unexpected question that Saskia almost didn't know how to answer. "I'm not used to you asking me personal questions. I'm not used to asking them," Kingston admitted, "which is probably why I've been such a terrible boss. So humor me. Who is Saskia Brennan?" Over dinner, and Saskia did indeed order the most expensive entree, followed by the most expensive wine, she found herself talking about growing up in Queens with a single mother who worked 3 jobs, about putting herself through business school at night while working full-time during the day, about her dream of running her own company someday, of building something that mattered. "Why did you become an executive assistant if you wanted to run a company?" Kingston asked. "Because I needed to learn how," Saskia said honestly. "And working for you, for all your faults, taught me more about running a business than any MBA program could have. I learned how to negotiate by watching you destroy competitors in meetings. I learned strategic planning by managing your schedule. I learned crisis management by cleaning up your messes." "I've created a lot of messes, haven't I?" Kingston said. "More than," Saskia confirmed. "Remember the Fujimoto deal last year? The one where you supposedly saved the merger at the last minute?" "Yes. I spent 72 hours straight renegotiating terms after you insulted their CEO by forgetting his daughter's name. You got credit for the save. I got an extra week of 14-hour days." Kingston set down his wine glass. "I'm starting to realize I've been even worse than I thought." "You've been terrible," Saskia said bluntly. "Arrogant, dismissive, and completely oblivious to the fact that your success is built on other people's labor. Specifically mine. And yet you stayed for 5 years. "Because I was learning," Saskia said. "And because despite everything, you're brilliant at what you do. When you're not being an arrogant ass, you have genuine vision. You see opportunities others miss. You take risks that pay off. You've built something incredible." "We've built something incredible," Kingston corrected. "I'm starting to understand that now." The conversation shifted, becoming easier, more natural. Kingston told her about the pressure of inheriting his father's company at 28, about the impossible standards he'd been held to, about learning to bury every emotion under layers of cold professionalism because showing weakness meant being devoured. "I think I forgot how to be human somewhere along the way," he admitted. "How to see people as people instead of resources. How to value relationships over transactions." "It's not too late to remember," Saskia said softly. "Is that why you agreed to this dinner?" Kingston asked. "Because you think I can change?" "I agreed because I'm curious," Saskia said honestly. "Curious if the partnership offer is real or just a desperate attempt to keep me from leaving. Curious if you're actually capable of seeing me as an equal instead of a subordinate. Curious if there's a real person under all that arrogance." "And what's the verdict so far?" Saskia considered him across the table. "The jury's still out." Over the next few weeks, Kingston proved he was serious. He had legal draw-up partnership papers. He scheduled a board meeting to announce the change. He started CCing Saskia on every major decision and actually listening to her input. But more than that, he started treating her differently. He asked her opinion not just on business matters, but on everything. He stopped working her weekends. He learned her coffee order, something he'd never bothered with in 5 years, and started having it waiting on her desk every morning. "You don't have to do this," Saskia said one morning, finding her favorite latte with an extra shot waiting beside a pastry from her favorite bakery. "I know," Kingston said. "I want to." "Why?" He was quiet for a moment. "Because that night at the gala, when you walked away from me, I realized something. I'd spent 5 years with the most competent, intelligent, fascinating person I'd ever met, and I didn't actually know her. Didn't know her favorite coffee or her favorite food or what made her laugh, and that terrified me. Terrified you? Saskia repeated. Because somewhere in those 5 years, without realizing it, I'd started to need you. Not just professionally, but... He trailed off, seeming to struggle with the words. I'd started to need you, period, and I'd been such an arrogant ass that I'd never acknowledged it, never appreciated it, never even noticed it until you were walking away. Saskia's heart was pounding. Kingston, I'm not asking for anything, he interrupted. I just wanted you to know that you matter, that you've always mattered, and I'm sorry it took me 5 years and a very public rejection to figure that out. The board meeting was scheduled for a Friday afternoon. Kingston had warned Saskia it might get contentious. Some of the older board members were resistant to change, and promoting an executive assistant to full partner was unprecedented. Let them object, Saskia had said. I've been running circles around most of them for years anyway. But what happened at the meeting was something neither of them expected. Kingston presented the partnership proposal, laying out all of Saskia's contributions over the past 5 years. He showed data on company growth that correlated directly with her tenure. He demonstrated how her strategic thinking had saved the company millions. Miss Brennan has been my secret weapon for 5 years, Kingston said. It's time she got the recognition she deserves. One of the older board members, Richard Carmichael, stood up. This is highly irregular. We don't even know if Miss Brennan wants this position. Perhaps we should ask her directly. All eyes turned to Saskia, who stood from her seat at the back of the room. You're right, Mr. Carmichael, she said. You should ask me. So I'll make this simple. I accept the partnership on one condition. And what's that? Carmichael asked skeptically. That I get to fire everyone on this board who's been sexually harassing the female staff for the past decade. The room exploded. Carmichael went red. Kingston's eyes widened. This was clearly news to him. That's a serious accusation, Carmichael sputtered. It's a serious problem, Saskia replied coolly. I have documentation, emails, text messages, witness statements from 17 women who've been too afraid to come forward because they thought no one would believe them over board members. But I believe them. And if I'm going to be partner, that's my first order of business. Clean house. Kingston stood up. She has my full support. Anyone who's been harassing staff is out, effective immediately. No severance, no recommendations, and I'll personally make sure no one in this industry hires you again. The meeting devolved into chaos after that. 3 board members resigned on the spot, rather than face investigation. 2 more were fired within the hour once Saskia presented her documentation. Kingston was furious, not at Saskia, but at himself, for not knowing, for not seeing. I'm supposed to be the CEO, he said afterward, pacing his office. How did I not know this was happening? Because you were so focused on profit and growth that you forgot to look at the people making it happen, Saskia said gently. But you're looking now. That's what matters. You knew, Kingston said. For how long? 3 years, Saskia admitted. But I was just an assistant. Who would have listened to me? I would have, Kingston said fiercely. If you told me, would you have? Really? Saskia challenged. 3 years ago, would you have believed me over a board member? Would you have risked the company's stability on the word of your assistant? Kingston sank into his chair, and Saskia saw the exact moment he realized she was right. He wouldn't have. Not back then. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For that too. 2 months later, Sterling and Brennan Industries officially launched. The press release made headlines, not just because of the partnership, but because of the massive shakeup in leadership and the new company policies protecting employees from harassment. But the biggest surprise came at the launch party. Kingston asked for the microphone midway through the evening. The room quieted. 5 years ago, he began, Saskia Brennan started working for me as my executive assistant, and for 5 years I took her for granted. I took credit for her ideas, I dismissed her contributions, and I treated her like she was lucky to work for me instead of recognizing that I was lucky to work with her. Saskia felt her face flush. This wasn't in the program. 3 months ago, she rejected me publicly at a charity gala, Kingston continued, called me out for being an arrogant, dismissive boss in front of 400 people. And she was absolutely right. I deserved every word. He looked directly at her across the crowded room. I spent the next 3 months trying to prove I could see her as the equal she's always been. And somewhere in that process, I realized something terrifying. I'd fallen in love with her. Saskia's breath caught. Around them, the room erupted in whispers. I know this is probably terrible timing, Kingston said. And I know I have no right to ask for anything more than the professional partnership you've already given me. But I can't let tonight end without telling you the truth. Saskia Brennan, you are the most brilliant, courageous, infuriating person I've ever met. And I love you. I'm in love with you. I have been for years, but I was too arrogant to recognize it. He set down the microphone and walked across the room to where she stood, frozen. In front of everyone, board members, employees, press, he knelt down. I'm not asking you to marry me, he said. I'm not that presumptuous. I'm just asking for a chance, a real chance, to prove that I can be the partner you deserve in every sense of the word, to prove that I've changed, to prove that I see you now, really see you, and I'm never looking away again. The room was dead silent. Every eye was on Saskia. She looked down at Kingston, powerful, arrogant Kingston Sterling, kneeling in front of her with complete vulnerability in his eyes. And she thought about the past 3 months, about the coffee waiting for her every morning, about him actually listening in meetings, about him standing up to the board for her, about the way he'd looked when she'd told him about the harassment, not defensive, but devastated that he'd missed it. People could change. She'd seen it happen. The question was whether she was brave enough to believe in it. Get up, she said finally. You look ridiculous kneeling on this expensive carpet. De Kingston stood slowly, uncertainty written across his face. I'm not saying yes to a relationship, Saskia said clearly, loud enough for the room to hear. I'm saying yes to a first date, a real one, where you pick me up at my door and we go somewhere you didn't have me make reservations at, where we talk about things that aren't work, where you treat me like someone you're trying to impress, not someone you already have. I can do that, Kingston said quickly. When? Friday, Saskia said. 7 p.m., and if you're even 5 minutes late, the deal is off. A smile broke across Kingston's face, genuine and warm and completely unlike his usual cold smirk. I'll be there at 6:55. Good, Saskia said. Then, because the moment called for it, and because she'd always been brave, and Kingston, for the record, I see you too, and I think I'm starting to like what I see. The room erupted in applause as Kingston pulled her into a kiss that was neither professional nor appropriate for a corporate event, but was absolutely perfect. 6 months later, at another charity gala, the same one where Saskia had rejected him, Kingston asked her to dance. Remember last year, he asked as they swayed to the music, when you told me no in front of everyone. Best decision I ever made, Saskia said. Made you actually work for it. Made me realize what I was about to lose, Kingston corrected. He pulled back to look at her. I have a question, and before you panic, it's not that question. Not yet. What question? Do you still think I'm an arrogant ass? Saskia pretended to consider it. Sometimes, but now you're my arrogant ass. That makes all the difference. Good, Kingston said. Because you're my brilliant, infuriating partner, and I never want that to change. It won't, Saskia promised. As long as you remember that I'm not afraid to call you out in front of 400 people again if you backslide. I'm counting on it, Kingston said, and kissed her as the ballroom applauded. Because sometimes the best love stories start with rejection. Sometimes they start with someone being brave enough to say no, to demand better, to refuse to accept less than they deserve. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that rejection becomes the beginning of something real. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Saskia and Kingston's journey from boss and assistant to true partners touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.